Hey guys, welcome to the last chapter of the year, chapter 7. And this is more about you individually and what you're going to kind of face in your life as you move forward with your life. Some of you may choose to stay by yourself your whole life, but some of us might take on other responsibilities like let's take it for a relationship for into consideration here. So, part of this chapter is talking about us. We're going to look at money and relationships. We're going to look at some different career options and life after high school, okay? And those are the three chapters, and then we're done. So, the first one, real quick here, I'm just going to ask you guys a couple questions. Understanding your money personality. It's important that you understand your money personality, number one, but also the person that we're with's money personality. For example, I might be a saver or I might be a spender, but what is the money personality of the person I'm with? This can cause some serious conflict when it comes to getting along and doing different things with everyday life to life experiences. Usually, in general, when we do our budget projects, if you can remember all the way back to chapter 4 or 5, let you guys in general get married halfway through the activity. Unfortunately, we can't do that anymore, but if you're doing this online or so on and so forth. But what they find is when they get married, they really struggle agreeing on what to spend their money on. Some people want bigger houses as far as different things. Some people want to drive nicer cars that the other person doesn't want to do. A bigger house compared to a small house, keeping to the budget, switching around the budget. So there's a lot of different things. They want more free spending money. They want more saving. Okay, so how you're going to do this is you really need to communicate what you guys are planning on doing. If you're planning on having a relationship and sharing your money, this will be one of the most difficult things you'll do in your life. So, how does your values relate to money? Secure relates to saving, and freedom, being spontaneous, relates to spending. Okay, it's difficult to balance who you are with who you should what so for with what you should do. When sharing money, it is important to accommodate both personalities in the relationship. If men and women are so different, who is supposed to make a financial decision making? And the answer is both. If one person is doing all the finances, this is sure to end up in a disaster because the second person will never follow what the first person is doing. So you have to make sure that even if you are handling the bulk of the finances moving forward in a relationship, that needs to be shared every week and needs to be communicated, and the spending habits need to be shared by both, else nothing will get accomplished, and it will be uh, it will be sure to fail. Okay, decision making has to be done together on what you guys are going to do. When you get into a relationship and you're sharing money, it has to be a team effort. Consistency, communication are all important elements of handling family finances. And you have to accommodate both. So you can't be somebody that's not going to let the other person spend or accommodate their personality. There has to be money taken out of the budget to accommodate both of you and to make both of you happy. And the other person has to be obligated to following what we're willing to compensate for each other. Here's the question. Will my boyfriend's credit score affect me when we get married? And we've talked about credit score, and a lot of people have this question on their mind, and the answer is no. Just because you slip a ring on somebody else's finger does not mean his or her numbers will jump on your side of the page. Now, unfortunately, when you go to get a mortgage and you are going to get maybe an expensive house where both of you need to be on the credit report in order to gain funding, then yes, that credit score will affect you in purchasing the home. But if you choose to purchase a home or automobile with one person's credit, then no, it won't affect you, okay? So both of you combined should have a more powerful spending or credit score if you both have jobs. If one has a job and one doesn't have a job and they have a lot of student loan debt and they are not in a good credit score position, you do not have any financial obligations as far as credit scores to each other, but that other person in the relationship will not be able to get the types of loans that you are. Therefore, in the long run, you might find yourself signing for them for specific things that they want, okay, if you're in a relationship with them, which could then negatively affect your score. So be very careful and help each other. If one person has a bad credit score, you guys might need to negotiate something to have some kind of debt snowball to get them out of the debt that they're in and help them bring up their credit score. So be very careful with what you're doing and how you're co-signing different things. All right, when you guys are getting in this, communication is key. Like I said, the nerd of the relationship should do all of the budgeting, but the decision making must be done by both people. So if you want to be the nerd, that's fine. Okay, end the relationship and handle all the budgeting matters and do all the different things. But you have to share a relationship when it comes to the finances of you guys both sharing money. Remember the basics of budgeting. You spend every dollar on paper before the month begins. You should have a written out budget before the month begins, and every dollar has a name or a purpose that's allocated to it. And if you're spending fun money, you might allocate your partner this amount of money, fun money, just specifically for that person, just to keep them happy and say, hey, this is what you got. How to talk to your parents. How to talk to your parents about money. Some of you have parents who pay for everything. Others who have parents that won't give them a dime. All the rest file somewhere in the middle. Okay, some of you may ask for $20. Your parents might give it to you willingly. Others say no. Others might give it to them sometime and then say no on the other part. Okay, on the other hand, we all fall somewhere in the middle. So you can't control your parents, but you can listen to them about finances and learn from them on how to take control of your bills before it happens. Like I said in the last chapter, chapter 6, section 3, I talk to my parents about, my dad about how I'm spending my money and my finances. I also talk to my best friend. I have a financial buddy. Okay. Respect your parents' decision. Okay. When you want them or they want to give, if they don't want to give you responsibility for help paying for some certain things to help you budget, it might be a good idea if you have a solid job right now to try to take on a couple bills. Okay. That your parents maybe will give you around the house just so you can kind of get a sense of, hey, what and how is living in the real life and how does it affect different things. And you might do this. You might find yourself, your parents buying you a few more things if you take on some bills. Respect your parents' decision. Don't beg or manipulate. The goal is to not get more money from your parents. Instead, it's to become responsible and independent with the money you have. Singles and money. You go from being accountable to your parents to eventually managing your money on your own and paying for a full slate of bills with the budget that's coming in. Right now, you have so much money because you might be in school and you might have cyber school if you're watching this. And what's happening is, you're pocketing every single dollar you have and your parents are probably paying for all the bills. This is not a realistic thing in your life. In your life, you're going to have to front your bills when you move out of your house. Okay, so make sure that you know that. And if you have a minimum wage job, this is probably not going to be a sufficient enough job for you to live on with the bills you have. And I want you to know that, and I want you to be accountable for this. Just statistically speaking, you're going to make more money when you go to college or you go to a tech school or you specialize in a trade or you go into the military or you go to some form of higher education. You're going to make more money. Statistics show it. If you don't, you're not going to make as much money and you're probably going to struggle financially when it comes to paying bills. Okay. Young singles who are in college or just getting started in their career typically pour all their time and energy into that. Okay, if you don't want to devote your time into your budget, you will end up treading water and living from paycheck to paycheck, which is the biggest nightmare you can have. Okay, beware of wasteful buying. Singles can rationalize almost any expense because they have more money on their hands. A written plan gives a single person empowerment, self-accountability, and responsibility. If you have a budget, you will have these three things. You must do a budget every month. You must have a written plan. And when you have a written plan for where your money is going, it's called talking to your money. And it'll help you reach your goals. And the savings chapter that we just mentioned in the last chapter, develop an accounting buddy that you can I am brutally honest with my best buddy, and he tells me exactly what to do. And it took me about 2 or 3 years ago to figure out that I needed somebody that was my age and that can help guide me through the decisions that I'm currently making in my life. Okay, so it's very important. The last thing I wanted to talk about on this lecture is, what was I going to say? Oh, don't ever, ever, ever co-sign, okay, for somebody's student loans if you guys are not married, okay? If you're going to married and you are in a long distance financial relationship, not long distance, but a long-term financial relationship, I would say, yeah, then it's okay once you have all the numbers in front of you. so on and so forth, and you guys are a team moving forward, you're filing your taxes together. Don't ever, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is co-signing for somebody's student loans, credit cards, whatever it may be. That is a financial disaster. Not saying that you guys aren't going to make it in a relationship, okay, if you're engaged or whatnot. Just make sure this is explained at the beginning of the relationship and that you guys communicate. Like I said, this is key, okay? But let's say something doesn't work out. Guess what? Just because you guys broke up does not mean that you're not responsible for paying for those person's student loans if they can't make the payment and you guys break up. Once you co-sign on a student loan, that means they're going to come after you if that person can't pay for that loan, or you co-sign on anything, a car, whatever it may be. Okay, so be very careful in how you tread, especially if you are not married and you have not signed a contract to be married through the state. Okay, you will be, doesn't matter, you're financially obligated to pay those loans. So be very careful of how you tread through a relationship. We might love these people very much, but financially it might not be the decision to co-sign on stuff until you guys minimum engaged, but I would love to not co-sign until you guys are married. So be very careful of how you do that. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just trying to tell you how to be smart financially. If you have any questions for me, please shoot me an email through Schoology, a message through Schoology, or we can chat. Thank you for watching today, and have a nice day.